Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. Today should be the final installment of our color along for, for the month of September, even though this is coming out in October. This one took a little bit longer than I thought it would to get done, but we are just about done. So we are working on this page, this beautiful page from Hanna Karlzon's Tales from the Forest Kingdom. I got this side done last time, so now we're just going to focus on the rest of the stuff here. So, big thing first, I'm just going to go ahead and get right into the house. I am going to zoom you guys in just a tad so that you can see what I'm working on. And again, I'm using the same colors from everything that we've been doing. I'm going to add in some grays and some greens, and then yeah. So I'm going to zoom you in so you can see a little bit better, and we will get started. Okay, so here we go. So I'm going to use the warm grays that we have been using. I'm also going to throw in a little bit of this olive green yellowish and see how I like that. I've got quite a bit of the shading done already. I'm just going to add in a little bit here and there underneath the flowers, around the brickwork, in the inside of the windowsill, and then along the base of the house. So basically I will just be, I'll go ahead and do all the work with the gray, and then I'll show you where I want to add the brown here in a second. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to speed this up so you guys can see, and I will talk to you again in a second. Okay, so now I'm going to add in this light, I don't know, what is this? Olive green yellowish. And around the bottom of the house, up the walls just a little bit. I'm just adding a little bit of this green color around where the flower's growing. Do the same thing over here. I'm not making it completely green. I just want to add a little bit of a tint of green. So like kind of like something maybe is growing on the house a little bit. Yeah, and kind of anywhere where these flowers are touching, we'll have a little bit of green around them. And then I'll probably do some up along the back over here too. And see. Spread this out a little bit better so it's not just big chunks of green sitting there. Yeah, just a little bit of green. I didn't want it to be, I just wanted it to have the appearance that there might be some growing things. I might come in and do like little, just kind of little dots with my pencil to make it look a little, I don't really know what it looks like, but I just like the texture of that. This would probably be a lot easier if I had fine liners or something. But I just wanted to, I just had that idea, so I'm going with it. So I'm just using the tip of my pencil as best I can, turning it frequently so I can get a nice sharp edge, and just adding little tiny dots. Wherever I've added that green color. All right, that looks okay. All right. Okay, so the brickwork is basically going to be these same colors that I just used. I'm going to use these grays, probably a little bit of the brown, the raw umber, and a little bit of the green on the brickwork as well. So I'm going to do a few of those, try to keep my hands out of the way as best as I can. Do a few of those and you can kind of see, and it's going to be varied. They're not all going to be the same, but a lot of the brickwork will start out with a darker color first. So I'm going to do this little section right here. And then I'll move to the next lightest color. And I'm just adding little bits of color. Like I don't have to color the whole thing in. And the brown gives a nice variation. And if I add a little bit of that green, that changes it as well. And then I'll probably go back over everything with my light gray or my warm gray 3. So that's about what the brickwork will look like. I'll do this little grouping down here too. So again, I do like a little shadow in one of the corners, maybe both of the corners on some of them, but I don't go all the way to the edge of the little brick. I leave a little ridge of white line, unless it's in shadow. And then I just go through and add in the colors as I feel like maybe they need to be added in. This guy's going to have quite a bit of green on him. A little bit of brown. And then the warm gray 3 again over everything. There we go. And that's basically going to be what all of the bricks look like. So I'm going to go off camera and do that. And then when we come back, we'll work on the next section. So I'll see you again in just a second. Okay, we've got the house and the stonework all done. I am going to do a little bit more work on the porch here. And that's really the last little bit that I have to do. So I'm just adding those couple. So I was working with warm gray 6, warm gray 5, warm gray 3, raw umber, and olive green yellowish. I'm going to add in some of that olive green yellowish to this door frame as well. I just like the look that it gives. It makes it just look like there's moss or something growing on the stuff. Okay, and then I need to do these little stones down here. So I'm going to do similar to what I did up here and what I did over on the other page where the stones were on the ground. So I'm just going to pick an end to add my darkest color to. I'm going to do these little stones while we're here. And then, so that was warm gray 6. This is warm gray 5. Then I'm going to use the warm gray 3. A little bit of this raw umber. Yeah, and I think I'll use this olive green again. And then back over everything with the warm gray 3. That just kind of helps everything kind of blend together there. All right. So I like the way that that is looking. I do need to add in a little bit of color on the grass down here. I think these are the right colors. So I've got the earth green yellowish and the permanent olive green. And I'm just going to add in, I'm going to use this lighter one to add in the couple of grass stalks that I haven't really given color to yet. And then, yeah, I'm going to add just a little bit of this permanent, what is this, permanent green olive around the stones and kind of coming outwards from that the stoops. And I want to get some color in between. I'm not going to do like individual grass strokes, although that is definitely something that you could do that would add some really cute detail. I'm just going to go through and add in a few horizontal lines with that color. I am going to add just a little bit of shadow along the hill here. I did add a little bit when I used my Prismacolor. No, that's not what I used. I added a little bit when I used the Inktense. I just want to darken it up just a tiny bit. So I'm just going right along the edge and then kind of lightening my pressure as I fade into the rest of the green that's on there. Okay, all right. I want to blend this out just a little bit more. I think I'll probably add in some cream in here, just so the lines aren't quite so harsh. It'll blend that out just a little bit more. Okay. All right. Let's work on, what do we think? You want to go top to bottom? Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit more. I wonder if I can. All right, so I'm going to focus on the chimney. Gosh, come on, camera. I'm going to use the colors that I've used previously. So I have Sanguine, India Red, and Cinnamon. And I'm going to do something similar to what I did with the stonework, but I'm going to start with the India Red and just add that into a couple of places randomly. I don't want each brick to be identical, so you want to add your dark color in different areas. Okay, then I'm going to use the Sanguine. Somebody really needs to tell me how to pronounce that. If I ever use this color on a page, on a color along again, you guys, I want to be able to say it right. Okay, and then the Cinnamon. And that's just an overall straight color. There we go. That was pretty simple. I am going to add in a little bit of burnt umber just in between some of the bricks to add a little bit of definition. I could have used a warm gray as well, but I just went for the burnt umber on this one. Okay. All right, chimney done. Let's do the windowsills. I'm going to do the same way that I did them on the other mushroom house. So I'm just going to add in my burnt umber in the corners at the edge of each of the cross things there. Lighten up the pressure as you move through, and then use the raw umber, and then one more time with the burnt umber. All right. Okay, same thing for the other ones. I might just speed this up so that you guys can see. Okay, next let's work on the doors. Again, I think I'm just gonna stick with what I've been doing. And what did I use? I used, I think I used these colors. Yes, that is what we're going to say that I used. So I've got warm gray, 5, dark sepia, burnt umber, raw umber, and light yellow ochre. And again, I'm going to start, so this little tiny door, you can't do as much detail, but you can still add a little bit. It's kind of like doing hair. So you just flick up from the top and the bottom, and then move to your next lightest color. And then again. And I'm going to go over everything with that ochre, that yellow. And then back in a little bit, I think up here with the burnt umber. It kind of helps make it a little darker. Okay, and then I'm going to use the warm gray 6 to do some shadows. So I'm going to shadow underneath the door frame there. And then anywhere where there's a line that hints that there's a plank there, I'm gonna trace that pretty good too. Okay, similar thing on this side, but this one's a little bit bigger, so we can kind of get into the little bit of details a little bit more on this one. So I'm just drawing the lines. Okay, so that was dark sepia. This is burnt umber, and I'm doing pretty much the same thing. You don't need to follow the same lines or anything, but if you happen to go over it, that's fine. Okay, and then with my raw umber, I'm doing again the same thing. Okay, and then I'm going to go over all of that with that golden, nope, light yellow ochre. And this is just a very light layer. I'm not pushing hard or anything. Okay, I am going to add in some shadows with the gray. So at the top here, and flick down along the lines that Hannah has drawn in. edge here, and then up from the bottom as well. Okay, and then one more time through with the dark, nope, burnt umber. That's what this one is. I am kind of going over wherever I put the gray because that burnt umber will warm up the gray that we put in there. So, all right, and then another light layer of the light yellow ochre. Okay. All right, there's our doors done. What else do we have? We have flowers. We have some little bugs that we need to do. I had picked out some colors for flowers. I think I'm going to do the flowers yellow. So for that, I have the light yellow ochre, light chrome yellow, and the cream. I'm going to start with the light yellow ochre, put that shade mostly around the center of the flower, and any petals that are kind of hidden behind, the majority of those petals will be that light yellow ochre color. Okay, then I'm coming in right over top of that with the light chrome yellow. And then I'll finish off the petals with some cream. Okay, and then for the centers, I'm going to color the whole thing with the raw umber. And then around the outside, just like that with the burnt umber. Okay, and that's it. Okay, so I'm going to do the rest of these flowers, and I will again record that so you guys can see what I'm doing. And I will talk to you again in a second. Okay, let's work on this cute little lantern. I think, well, actually, no, I lied. Let's do the inside windows. I'm going to make these ones golden as well, I think. Yeah. Yep. So, again, start with the yellow ochre, light yellow ochre at the top part. And then I'm going to come in with the light chrome yellow. And then with the cream. Make this a little bit darker up here. Okay, same thing. Okay, what do we got next? We have a roof that we need to do. I probably need to get that done. Using the same brown combo with a warm gray thrown in, so warm gray 6, dark sepia, burnt umber, raw umber. I'm just going to go ahead and do the roof. I'm going to start with the dark sepia. And on the sides of the roof here, I'm just going to shade it darker at the top and at the bottom of these whatever this part of the roof is called. Okay. And since I already have color down, I don't have to press hard. I don't have to go all the way through the whole object, like through this whole shape here, because once I get to this light umber or raw umber color, I can just kind of make it fade into that other color, which is lovely. So that's kind of where it's like a space saving, you know, example. The dark sepia. This piece is a little bit different because I did not put any color on that section. So I'm just pushing a little bit harder, and I'm just gonna go ahead and, there we go, okay. All right, so then for the shingles, and I'm just gonna do a couple for you on screen, and then I'm gonna cut to it being done. Let's see, I'm gonna start with the dark sepia. I'm gonna do these ones up at the top here. So I'm gonna add that color at the top of the shingle. And then underneath the shingles here, of course, would be darker as well because they overlap. Okay, and then we'll use the burnt umber. I'm going right over top of the dark sepia. Okay, then we have the raw umber last, and that's just going to finish off the whole thing. And then where the warm gray comes in is I'm going to add in more shadow underneath the shingles. Once I'm done with a section, I'll go back in and add that little bit darker shadow with that warm gray 6. Because it's not quite black, but it's still pretty darn dark. So that'll create a nice contrast. Okay, yeah, so that's what I'm going to do for the rest of the roof, and I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and then when I come back, we will work on the next little bit, little section. I'll see you in a second. All right, roof is done. Let's do this little lantern down here, because this is one that we were going to do similarly to the one on the other page. Excuse me. Now this lantern is shaped just a little bit different, so instead of just doing lines across, I'm going to take my light cobalt turquoise and I'm going to do like a U shape, almost. And I'm going to leave a little bit of the top parts white. And then I will do the gold on the bottom and the gold on the handle. And then the red, which I have deep red and middle cadmium red. I'm just going to start with the deep red. I'm going to put that around the base. And then the middle cadmium red on top of that. Okay, let's see, what else do we have to do? Oops, I missed a couple little rocks down here. Just need to color those guys in. I am going to color this one as wood as well, but I'm just going to straight color the burnt umber right over top of that 4. It looks like I need to add in a little bit of shading to the door frame and the window frame here. So I'm going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to add in, so that was warm gray 5, warm gray 3, and now I'm going to do a little bit of raw umber and then back over with the warm gray again. And do that in the corner up here too. Okay. Let's see. I think something else I'm going to do is add in a little bit more shadow to this mushroom. So along the stalk there, right where those two things overlap, and then along the edge. Okay, and just blend out with the warm gray 3 a little bit. And again, I'm going to add this warm gray 5 right under here. And a little bit, so this is very light, but I'm just going to kind of trace the shape that this cap makes. Okay, and then where there we go. And the way that this is angled, I feel like you would be seeing the more of the underside of the mushroom, so I'm just going to add in the ivory to blend it out. I'm not going to add in darker shadows or anything, maybe just a little tiny bit right in here. Very lightly with the warm gray 5, over top with the warm gray 3, and then back in with the ivory. Yeah, okay, I like that. What else do we have to do, my friends? I think we just have the little bugs and then some of the embellishments, and that's about it. So let's get these bugs done. There are 3 that I can see currently. I don't think I'm missing anything here. So let's do this little guy. I'm going to make this one green like I did on the other page. So I have, let's just do permanent olive on him. And I'm going to make like the outside part of his wings a little shiny. And then the front part of his head. And then I've got, what do I have? I'm going to use the grass green again. Okay. And then I think some of the light yellow glaze. Okay, and then I'm going to use my black to do his legs, his eyes, and his antenna. This is always a good spot to add in like sparkle gel pens too. I love to add glitter pens to my insects. I don't have any to hand currently, but typically I would add fun little sparkles to those guys. All right, so this one is going to give me a little bit of trouble. This one up here, I'm going to do red, straight red. This guy, I think I'm going to make him yellow, but a little bit of a different kind of yellow. So he's going to be yellowy orange, sort of. Let's see if we can make this work. I'm going to start with a little bit of the light cadmium red, very, very lightly. And then go right over top of that with the light yellow ochre. And then over top of that with the light chrome yellow. Well, he turned out to be orange. That's okay. All right, let me add this light. There we go. Okay, and then for his head, I am going to use a combination of black and gray. I'm going to use my warm gray 5, do a light layer of that everywhere, use the black to add my shadows, use that gray again to blend out, color in his eyeball, his antenna, just leaving a little bit of a highlight there, and then his little legs. Okay, and then we've got this big guy over here. So this one's definitely going to be red. I'm going to do the red first. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a combo of this Caput mortuum violet. Then I'm going to add the middle cadmium red, then the deep red, and then possibly some cinnamon. We'll see how this goes. But I'm going to start with this dark color. And because this is curved, I'm going to leave a little bit of a white edge there, just a tiny one. And then go right along this part and then down here. Yep, that's looking good to me. Okay, and then let's do the middle cadmium red next. I'm going to go right over top of where I just added that dark color. Try to leave that edge as best I can. Okay. All right, next with the deep red. This side's just going to get, I'm going over the whole thing with the red and then just covering up the spots that I left open. Same here, but I'm going to leave a little bit more of a highlight open on this part of the bug. That combo worked well. Okay, and then the cinnamon at the end. Just around the edge, and then I'm going to add in the ivory to finish that off. Okay, I see a little bit up back here where I need to add more of the deep red. All right, that one's cute. Let's do my grays again. I'm going to use warm gray 3, warm gray 5, and black. Okay, just color the whole thing in with that one. Gonna add in the shadows. Okay. These eyes, I'm never sure exactly what I need to do with that, so a lot of the time they just all get blacked out. The little legs over here. All right, So I'm going to use my white Posca to add in a few of the dots. So these little guys down here, I'm going to add in right over top of where those little black lines are, and then a little dot on the eye and some highlights on the antenna. Same thing over here, dots on the eyes, little lines on that highlight there. Same thing, I'm going to do little dots on the eyes, highlights on the legs and the back. Okay. All right, and I think actually I want to color in these little dots as well. And then these little half circle designs on here. Okay. All right. So really the last little bit that I have to do is just all of the little details. Oh, I did want to go over with you guys some of the shadows that I'm going to add in. So I'm going to switch between my warm gray 5 and warm gray 6 in adding in my shadows. So for example, on this little guy here, I'm just going to add in a little bit of this warm gray 5 just underneath where he would be casting a shadow, and then use probably the warm gray 6 right along the edge just to make that shadow extra dark. Make him stand out a little bit. But I'm going to do that anywhere where things kind of need a little bit of extra shadow. Like I did it on the house already. I feel like these flowers are really far away from the house in the background, so they wouldn't necessarily cast a shadow. But things like over here where you've got these stalks crossing in front of leaves, I feel like that is all relatively close. So I am gonna add shadows in there in those areas, and where like leaves cross over each other, things like that. I'm just going to add in little bits and pieces, and where the shadows would be extra dark, I'm going to add in that darker gray color. I don't always do this, but sometimes this step kind of helps, especially when you have things that are similar in color to each other. So okay, a little bit more shadow right in there. I think on all of the stalks here. Let's see, a little bit under here where these guys are right against the mushroom cap. A little bit right in here. And if I need to change the shadow tone a little bit to a brown, I can add in this burnt umber right over top of the gray, and it'll change it to make it a little bit warmer so it's not so stark against that color. So I could probably do the same thing over here actually. Didn't look terrible when I was over this way, but yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead, I think, and zoom you guys out and just let you see the final touches of everything, and then yeah, I think that's, and then we'll be done. Crazy. Okay, I'll talk to you guys again in a second. right, so final touches are going on, and this is basically just me adding some stickles to the ends of the large flowers around the outside edges along the top. And I'm just adding it a little bit to the tip. I will have the name of this stickles in the description because it's nowhere on my bottle. But it is the stickles bottle, or stickles color. It's like clear, but it has more like red tones in it that reflect. But guys, that is the end. This page is done. And I just had so much fun with y'all. Boy, my, sorry about the crookedness of the screen. I'm not going to mess with it right now. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. It did take a lot longer than I thought it would, but so much fun. So much fun to do, and I really am pleased with the outcome. So, yeah, thank you to everybody who watched this with me. Thank you. You know, if you're coloring along, I would love to see it. Please, please, please let me know. Tag me, send me an email, anything you want. So let's kind of look at the before, like what my inspiration was. All right, so this was the inspiration, the image, the color palette, all these other cute little mushrooms. And then there's our final image. So yeah, that's the end, guys. Thank you so much for joining me, coloring along with me, watching, whatever you did. I'm happy to have you here. I will hopefully have the the voting out soon to do our next month's page, next month's color along. And I will get that done in October. It will be done in October. You heard me say it here. Okay. Thank you guys so much again. Yeah, until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.